Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday in this wonderful college football world. I'm Jake the Sports, and we're going to go over the new games for today. Obviously, if anyone's here is a Notre Dame fan, you know they're not playing this week. So for me, it's honestly the least stressful time of the year. I'm literally able to just sit back and watch all these other teams battle it out. And the noon games did not disappoint. We had some great ones, guys. Where do I start here? I'll start with Purdue and Minnesota. Final score, Purdue 20, Minnesota 10. Minnesota was molly-whopping and girdle-stomping every single team they played up until this point, and they disappointed to immense levels. Minnesota had several missed opportunities this game. I mean, there was going for it on 4th and 1 early in the game at their own 30 when they were only down by 7. I don't get that. And then there's also they went for it other times inside the 30 or 40. Didn't get it when they probably could have kicked a field goal and made it. And I find their kicker to be pretty solid. He made his PAT, and once they realized they should actually start kicking field goals, it was kind of too late. If they kicked field goals, if they settled for field goals when they needed to, I think they would have had more control of the game. It wouldn't have won it for them point-wise. I think they probably would have still lost 20-16, but at that point, if you have more points than the other team like that, that's not a scenario where Purdue's literally picking the ball off from you, running it down to your own 20 with like a minute 10 to go to inflate the score. That's not going to happen. So overall, I think Minnesota is a decent team, and I think they got a good amount of talent, but PJ Fleck and the coaching, I think that's what cost them in this one. Not good for Minnesota. So, any thoughts people had of them, possibly, only having one loss going into the Big Ten championship or even making it to the Big Ten championship, those thoughts could be gone. Purdue, very solid. I've said that on this channel, that Purdue's a good team. They're going to win almost every single game they play against a top 25 team. It's just a Purdue thing. They did it on the road. Next game. This game's not even over. Oklahoma. The poor Sooner. The Sooners. If you can't tell, I'm sick, by the way, as well. But, the Sooners. They're garbage. What did I just watch? I can't even describe it to you. 55-24? The game's not even over. What are you doing? I don't know. That's just laughable. I don't even need to say anything, man. If you watch the game, you know TCU is beating them in every facet of the game. TCU could be solid. They're 4-0 now. They're going to be 5-0. But I think this is just... I think this is showing that Oklahoma's right there with those average Big 12 teams. This year, I think they're even a step below, like, Oklahoma State and Baylor and possibly TCU. They lost to Kansas State as well. This is going to be their second loss. This will knock them out of any playoff hopes they had. Anyone who thought they were going to make the playoffs, you're delusional. But yeah, they lose in embarrassing fashion. The game's still not even over, but their defense is absolutely horrible. They're tackling ghosts out there. They don't know what they're doing. I think Brett Venables is a solid coach, and I think he'll improve. But the defensive talent, it's just not there at Oklahoma. It's just not there. It's nowhere to be seen. At all. And combined with the fact that, you got a defensive guy coaching a talented offense. Yeah, you're going to put up some points and impress with the offense, but especially when Dylan Gabriel went down, they were getting road graded by TCU. So, the same TCU that fired Gary Patterson recently. I don't know. That one was a head scratcher for sure. That's why I was scratching my head. Other games. I mean, Michigan, oh my gosh, don't even get me started with Michigan. Michigan underwhelmingly takes care of Iowa. Michigan's got the Notre Dame disease. Do as little as you possibly can to win the game. It's exactly what they did. What was the final score? 27-14. It really should have been 20-14. The win looks okay, I guess, over an Iowa team that just refuses to play offense. I mean, 27 is pretty solid against an Iowa defense. And I guess naturally, any game will probably be decently close against Iowa, unless your offense is just spectacular, which Michigan's is not. It's not spectacular. I think J.J. McCarthy's okay. I think you guys got a decent defense. You're not the fourth best team in the country. Get that out of here. I hope they get killed by Ohio State in that game, honestly. They need to be taught a lesson, because I don't, like, when, this is what's going to frustrate me with Michigan. They don't schedule anyone good. You scheduled, like, Colorado State, UConn, and another nobody I can't even remember the name of. That's who you scheduled in your non-con? That's sad. That's honestly sad, man. And yeah, of course you're going to beat those teams 60-0. It's not even like, I know Marshall's not a great group of 5 teams. These teams are awful, dude. Like, really bad. I'm talking, like, down there in the 120s of bad. Like, out of the 130 teams in college football, Division I FBS, they're, like, in the 120s, dude. They're that bad. And, of course, you're going to beat them 60-0, $70 million to 0. Of course you're going to do that, and you're going to look like a top 5 team. But when you beat a so-so Maryland Terrapins team at home, along with a Iowa team on the road, I mean, you just don't look that impressive to me. I think you'll end the year in top 10, probably. But it's not impressive to me. That win can't be impressive to me. You guys have no impressive wins to me. I mean, I guess you could count those 3 wins against those nobodies impressive. I mean, you did the most you could against a trash team. But, I mean, there's no win that made me see Michigan and say, whoa, that's a top 4 team. That's a team that's going to do something special this year. That's a team that could beat Ohio State, and that's a team that could win the Big Ten. I just haven't seen that yet. Other games. Kansas State took care of Texas Tech. That's a big win for them. They now only have the 1 loss to Tulane. How do you lose to Tulane, man? You guys could have been undefeated. Nope. Instead, you still got that 1 loss. Are they still playoff bound? It's a little shaky. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're still playoff bound. It's a good question, though. We'll see. I mean, if they run the table and blow everyone out, it's going to be hard to leave them out, honestly. But we're still early in the season talking about Kansas State for the playoffs is pretty meaningless. A lot of those Big 10 or Big 12 teams, you know, they have all their non-con games at the beginning, and then they play conference games. So this, usually week 4, 5, 6 of the season is where you're going to start to see these teams that are like 4-0, 5-0 beat up on each other, because they're all pumped up by their terrible non-con schedule. What else? Other games. I'm trying to think here. Talked about. I mean those. Oh no. Here's the big one. How did I forget about this? This will probably end it. Those are probably like some of the bigger games. None of them were ranked matchups. This Ole Miss Kentucky game, oh my goodness, what a game. Great game to start off the day, honestly. I wasn't watching this for most of the first half, actually. I was watching some of these other games. I usually find the ones between the ranked team and the unranked team when they both got like kind of the same record early on here. I find those a little more intriguing there were quite a few of those, so I was kind of keeping track of those early on. But this Ole Miss Kentucky game did not disappoint. Oh my goodness. I'll just comment on the end of the game mostly. I mean, I know Kentucky had a few PATs and kicks blocked, but again, like Minnesota and Kentucky were the big losers of this noon slate, and Ole Miss and Purdue were the big winners. Because my goodness, Kentucky had so many opportunities between the field goals, the PATs, and then towards the end of the game, with around 4 minutes to go, they drive down, and with 4 minutes to go, they got the ball probably 20-30 of Ole Miss. I mean, at that point, if they just kneeled it 3 times and kicked a field goal, game would have been tied. Instead, Will Levis throws an interception to the defense, giving the ball back to Ole Miss. And then they stop Ole Miss. And they drive back down the field with about a minute to go. They probably could win the game here. They're lined up at like the Ole Miss 10 maybe, maybe, around there, somewhere around there. And you know what they do? They have a great play design. I believe the running back, maybe it was a catch. I can't remember if it was the catch or the running back. Someone gets a huge gain to bring it down to the 10 with around a minute left. They try to go hurry up. And Will Levis finds this guy and throws an absolute gem of a lob. Touchdown. You think it's a touchdown, except there's movement. The receiver moved just a little too early. Will Levis went a little too early. So they got to redo the play. It's like, okay, whatever. I mean, it was like a 5-yard penalty. It's like, okay, that sucks. We'll get back in the end zone, though. They still got time. The very next play, while he's going back to throw, he cocks back, and the ball comes out. And that's all she wrote for that game. I mean, unreal. Ole Miss got bailed out big time. I mean, those were big-time plays, obviously, and that's what's going to make a difference in a ball game that was, 22-19? It was a close game all around. But, boy, I mean, ballsy defense from Ole Miss there. A ballsy defense. They made it close for sure. Kentucky, I don't think either of these teams, neither of these teams are fluke teams at all. These two teams, I always find them in the same tier. They, every 2 years they'll make a New Year's Six. They're always capable of getting 10 wins, just on the verge of playoffs. And they're both a tier above Texas A&M, that's for sure. I mean, Texas A&M is an embarrassment to society. But no, these two teams are really good, in my opinion. And this was a very fantastic game. Could be one of the best of the year. Obviously, both these teams' playoff hopes are still intact. Kentucky with a close loss on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss with a massive win, and they're going to need that because they got some big ones coming up. Obviously, still got to play Arkansas, obviously. A&M, you still got to play. Alabama out of the West. I mean, there's still a lot of games to play. And to get a big win like that over Kentucky is huge for that team. Lane Kiffin needed that one. Mark Stoops did not need that one. So, it is what it is. Kentucky's going to have a chance to redeem themselves. I mean, they're going to play Georgia and Tennessee and all those guys. So, they'll have their chance. But overall, a great noon slate. Enjoy the weekend. Have a great day. As turns to fall here. Got the leaves showing out. And Outdoor Jake Does Sports, who's back?